Hi, this is Abundance of Hope Center Just Look Vlog. I'm Selena.
I'm Pamela.
And today our topic is Protect Black Women. For me, I think that it has to be said. It's sad that it has to be said, but it was said already by Malcolm X. The black woman is the least respected person in the world. The black woman is the most disrespected, least protected, I think he said, and most disrespected. And that hasn't changed.
And that's sad that it hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed to the point where, I'm in, different groups on Facebook or what have you, and if a black woman comes in spaces that are for black people only, to uplift ourselves, to talk about our community and what we can do better, and in the occasion that a black woman comes to those spaces that are supposed to be safe for us, sorry, your earring is just like get caught in your hair. And they will attack black women for voicing the fact that they don't feel protected. And I saw that as recently as today. And so that's how unprotected the black women are. That you need to be silent about your experiences if you're a black woman. Our position, it seems damn near, is to protect everybody else, but to never be protected. Never get that same protection back. And that same solidarity back that black women offer to other people in our community.
Well, to be honest, most of the black women in our communities, well, a lot of them are single women because we have expectations. I mean, that's my feeling. When you come into a relationship with a black woman, we usually have expectations for the relationship. Yeah, but accountability.
Even that expectation that you come into a relationship with a woman and then you protect her is only for a black woman. Yeah. And that's like, if you're gonna get protection, it's gonna be in that situation. But for other women, that's not the expectation. For other women, you're supposed to be just protected because you're a woman.
Yeah.
And for black women, we're not even seen, as in need of protection because we're strong.
And we're
we can do anything. We can withstand anything. We're resilient. We'll come back from anything. And I feel like, these narratives about black women is what ends up leaving us so unprotected in our own communities. So much to the point where if we even voice how we're not feeling protected, then we're attacked for it.
Yeah. And the interesting thing when you say we're resilient because we have to be, and we adapt to the situations that we are put in so we can survive in them, so we make a way to survive in it, but it doesn't mean it's not taxing on us.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's not harmful for us physically and mentally. I mean, even just talking about it, you can hear the emotion in me, and it's so sad because the lack of protection for us comes even though we'll have husbands and brothers and in our community and in our situations, they're still not protective of us. And I don't know if it has more to do with the social media projection of us.
I think it has a lot to do with self-hate.
And let's just be real.
It's literally, everyone literally attacks black women, but within our own community, black men are responsible for a lot of the death of black women. Domestic violence is like one of the number one killers of black women.
I can vouch for that because I would have to say in my years, being in my 60s, the saddest sight I seen was when me and Marissa had to get out the car to stop that black man with his white woman from beating up that small little black woman.
Yeah, I remember you guys telling me about that.
And I thought to myself, I said, that's so sad because the least he could have done was stop whatever altercation they was having. But to look at someone that has to look like your mother, because he was he was a dark person. So or your father or someone within your own family and community, and not feel any compassion or need to protect that person.
It's self-hate.
It is.
Because, and it's
deep.
undeniable. It is a deep, undeniable self-hate that leads to the lack of protection of black women in our own communities. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it was a black man who got arrested for raping and killing Toyin. It was a black guy that I saw in that video slapping that black woman across the face with a skateboard.
Oh, wow. And that was just
didn't want to date him. Like these are acts of violence being done by black men with black men around, laughing, recording, and encouraging the behavior. And for me, it can only be boiled down to self-hate. A self-hate that's so deep that you hate your reflection.
And not only self-hate, because it's like, to me, it's our men have been demasculated to the point of they don't want whatever roles we were assigned. I mean, because we were back in the day, they were assigned roles. I know things have changed a lot, but they don't seem to want to participate in protecting their families or any families, or providing for their families or any family. I don't know, and they say it's because I hear we coddle them.
I don't know about all of that. I just know that whatever is happening in black men's mind is leading to black women not being protected. Whatever is happening in black women's minds is leading to a lot of black women not being protected by black women either. Especially when it comes to our black trans sisters who are continuously attacked and ostracized in our community and aren't protected and don't have solidarity. So with the other black women. So there's just so much violence in our community, so much just lack of care, lack of regard when it comes to black women that I wonder what really can be done, because it's so deep and it's so constant and it's so a part of every single interaction, and it's something that we're always having to over explain and defend and be accused of pulling the race card or what have you.
And then we get labeled angry. So I guess we should be happy.
Which I'll be.
Yeah, but I guess we should be happy about the lack of care and concern for us in our bodies. I mean, it's to the point, I was thinking the other day, it's simply, when I have, don't even know what to say about black men not protecting women, especially when I consider the fact that I have 2 black sons myself. And when I look at the dynamics with even in that, I don't know, maybe it's because the fathers are not setting examples. Because in their defense, they didn't have a father. Their father, when the government decided they wanted to put crack cocaine out on the street and give it to miserable people who they were oppressing and got their foot literally on their throats.
Yeah, I mean you're going to tell me, I know. But my thing is, like, moving forward, thinking about what we can do to make sure black women and black girls are protected in our community, I feel like is to simply, like, refuse to put up with misogynoir anymore. You know what I mean? When it comes to raising our younger girls, no longer policing our girls and telling them about their shorts or their this and their that, but changing that gaze and turning that gaze to the adult men, usually, who the community is trying to protect these girls from. I feel like there's a lot of unlearning and relearning that we need to do in our community to promote protecting black girls instead of policing black girls, because I feel like a lot of the time in our community, when people call themselves even protecting black girls, what they're actually doing is policing black girls' bodies, their hair, what they wear, how they act. Like, that's their version of protection.
Change and adapt
so that you'll be safe, and that's not actually protecting black girls. That's not keeping us safe. You know what I mean? Reprimanding adults in those situations, protecting the child's innocence. You know what I mean? There's nothing a little black girl can do to make her look like an adult. Nothing. They're still a child. 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 So protect black children, protect black girls, and then when they grow up, protect black women.
And the thing about it, that protection is so important, because I was thinking, like, one of the reasons I think the lack of protection comes from having, the lack of fathers in the household. And it's not because the women who are having kids with these men don't want fathers in the household. It's because I'm finding more and more a lot of men in my age particularly, and I'll say maybe into the 40s, when you go down into the 40s, don't want the responsibility.
Well, I think that's a generational thing too, because a lot of these younger kids who, like when I was teaching 9th grade a few years ago, most of the black and brown kids in that class had dads in their house. So it's no longer the dads are out of the house issue.
Well, no,
now it's the dads are in the house not protecting their kids. So protect your kids.
Not there. I'm saying they have a body there,
right?
But I'm saying they're not present and active. Like families,
or if they are, it's in a negative way. That's what I'm trying to explain. Like there are people who are being there, and in my experience, the dads who are there were being abusive to their children or what have you. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's one thing to be there. It's another thing to be there and be a placeholder. And it's another thing to be there and be a negative effect on your child's life. And it's a whole other thing to be there and be a consistent positive effect, positive presence in your child's life. And I do think that that's part of what's missing, even when dads are in the home.
Yeah, and I think,
oftentimes it's not. So I'm not going to say that that's the thing that's happening all the time, but it's happening enough, and the evidence of that is clear.
Well, you saying fathers are not hands-on enough?
The proof of the negative effects. You know what I mean? The fact that daddy issues is a saying is showing that on some systemic level, daddies are passing down issues to their kids.
Well, typically,
girls and boys and non-binary.
Typically, even if you think about it, and I know some people had hands on dads, but when I think about back even when I was growing up, my father worked, my mother worked.
Yeah.
When my father got off, he was off.
Yeah,
work.
So they're just...
When my mother got off work, she just started her second job coming home, taking care of the household thing.
So that's that difference between being a fixture, being a negative affect, and being a positive affect.
You have to have that partnership, where we working together to create this system within our household or
that
within our family.
Leads our girls and women to being protected.
Yes, we're not. That what used to be part of it. I mean, because like I said, I remember even when I had a stepdad, and I thought it was just really weird, because there was a lot of people in the house all the time. He had 5 sons, and so his sons' friends would come over and stuff. And I know one day he brought me I was going into my room. He had me come into the living room, and then he kind of explained to the guys, because they were all boys, so it was a bunch of guys in there, that I guess he saw him looking at me, and he was like, okay, I know y'all looking at her, and I know she pretty, but I bet not catch near one of y'all with your hands on her or saying anything to her. And back in the day, I didn't realize until I got older, wow, this man knew. He was protecting me in a sense. In a sense. No, but it really was a protection in a sense, because they had that respect. The guys that were there had that respect for him.
I know, but the thing for me, it's like it needs to be beyond respect for your stepdad. It needed to be respect for you. It needs to be taught. But it needs to be respect for you. So, they need to not come at you in a certain way because they respect you, not because they respect your stepdad.
Not. That starts with being taught.
Yeah, I know, and I get what you're saying. It's the lessons.
It's the lessons that men. To me, they teach their sons lust, and they teach their sons to be disrespectful
and objectification.
Yeah, because I can see many a times, you'll have young girls, and they'll be walking down the street, and then you see how guys respond to that, and so they objectify them, and all of a sudden they become legs, and they become body parts and fixtures, and until we educate our young men and women and get our young men to see them as humans, as a counterpart, as an extension of each other. We need to look at each other differently. And we also really need to look at each other, I would say now in these times, with a lot more compassion, a lot more understanding, and know that we both bring into the table baggage of slavery, racism, I mean, all the isms. We bring so much baggage with us. That's why we have to have the understanding and the compassion and the empathy and work together. I mean, because...
Well, you just said that.
Yeah, we have to. And we need to really start giving each other that space. Because I know even as when I think of couples, we don't like to give that space. So when somebody says, I need a break, give them a break, then come back and talk, but always come back and resume the conversation and work out the issues with each other. But we definitely do need our men to step up for us.
And everybody in the community needs to step up for Black trans women. So that's that on that.
All women and girls.
Period.